Hi, everyone. Welcome to Kiki and Kibitz. It's Mary, and I am here for my Saturday night shenanigans. Love during lockup. We're on episode 3 already. And if I may say so myself, I think the season is pretty good so far. I mean, when I find myself yelling at the TV, going, girl, 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 what the fuck? A bunch of times in one episode, then yeah, it's a pretty good episode. Hi, whatever, Linda. How are you, girl? So, yeah, I think the season's pretty good so far, even though the storylines are pretty predictable, if I may say so myself. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good season. So I'm just gonna let some more people join the room before I get into it, because I was yelling at the TV a lot this episode. I mean, between Shante, Teeny, and Ayana. Ayana, girl. Hi, Deidre. So I hope everyone has had a good for running a little bit late. As you guys may or may not know, I cover 90 Day Fiance as well. And Michael, as in Angela and Michael, was going to go live on Instagram, but changed his mind. Probably going to do it tomorrow. So I got word that he may or may not go live. So I was sitting around waiting, and then I got word that he's probably going to go live tomorrow on Instagram. So that's why I'm a little late, but I'm here, and let's hop right into the episode. So I want to start off with Teeny and Rob because girl, girl, couldn't be me. That's all I have to say. So we pick up where we left off last week. Teeny is getting ready to walk away from this conversation with her mother-in-law, and her mother-in-law is all like, Teeny, Teeny, come back, come back. And Teeny is fucking heated because the mother-in-law brought up, thank you, Mary Pants. You see, I try to upgrade, okay? And I'm trying to do things better for you guys. So anyway, Teeny is heated because her mother-in-law had the nerve to bring up Rob's ex, Michelle. Okay, had the nerve to speak Michelle's name. And according to her, Michelle's name and her name should not be in the same sentence. So she is fucking heated. But her mother-in-law is like, come back, Teeny, come back, talk to me, explain yourself to me, so maybe I could change my feelings about you. Now, wasn't she just saying a few minutes before that if Rob thought that they were going to make up and be a happily ever after, that it wasn't going to happen? But now she's like, Teeny, explain yourself to me, and then maybe, I could change my mind. So it's all about the money. I'm sorry. And I would like to know why Rob's mother doesn't have a job, and why is she depending on her son, who is in prison, for a weekly allowance? Okay? I'm just asking for myself because I don't fucking understand this. Why can't she work? Unless they explain this in future episodes, that is my main question. Why doesn't this woman have a job? Okay, and she's depending on her son to give her a weekly allowance. Now we find out more about Teeny's backstory. Okay, um, her daughter's biological father died when she was 1 year old, and her son's biological father is non-existent, totally not in the picture. So Teeny has struggled as a single mom. Okay. And now that Rob is coming to the picture, she considers them to be a team. And she goes on to tell Rob's mom about all the shit that she has done for Rob and on Rob's behalf that Michelle, the ex, never even thought of and never would do. Like she points out to the mom, every time you guys argued, I was the one that told Rob to call you and make up with you. Do you have any idea how many times I did that? And I started a petition on Rob's behalf because she wanted to bring light to the excessive sentencing that happens in Oklahoma. Apparently, when Rob was arrested and sentenced for his crime, it was his first conviction, no prior criminal record, etc. And he was sentenced, to 16 years. So TD did this petition, which she says only got 3,000 signatures, but at least she tried. And his mom didn't even sign the freaking petition. So it's like, okay, what is that all about? TD's trying to do something positive for your son, and you can't put your feelings aside for Teeny to involve yourself in that? Okay, I see where you're coming from. So TD said, um, so basically, the mom is like, you know, I understand where you're coming from now. I've opened my eyes a bit, but it would help if you asked Rob to increase my allowance, bring it up to at least 175. That would help. And Teeny's like, okay, I hear you. But it turns out, as we find out later on in the episode, that this was the first time Teeny was hearing about this weekly allowance for her mother in law. Okay, so she is not fucking happy. She gets home and she's like, he hasn't even called to check in on me to see how the whole conversation with his mom went. So, you know something? I am cutting off the cameras. And that is where the title of this episode comes from. And that's exactly what she does. She, first of all, cuts off his access through the app. She's all like, where's my phone? She's all like, fuck this. Mm, 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 and deletes access. Okay. And she takes the cameras down, sticks one in the drawer. She's not having it. She's like, you know something? Fuck you, Rob, and your cameras. You put me in that situation with your mom. Fuck you, Rob, and your cameras. Okay. He calls the next morning and he's like, when were you planning on calling the internet company to find out what the fuck is up with the internet? And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I haven't been able to check on the cameras. So when were you planning on calling the internet company? And she's like, there's nothing wrong with the internet. I cut your access. And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, I cut your access because you couldn't be bothered to call me to see what's going on, to see how things happened between that conversation with you and your mom. I mean, with me and my mom, and you didn't bother to check in on me. So you know something? Fuck you, Rob. I cut off the cameras. And he's like, what do you mean? What happened? And TD tells him, and he's like, well, if things happened like you said they did. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm your wife. If I said things happened the way they happened the way they did. So he's like, well, I'll check my mom. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. Then we find out that he has a big secret. But I don't think this is Dee's secret, okay? He's like, Michelle, she's my ex. We had a 7-year relationship. I met her on a prison, pen pal website, whatever. And then, when Teeny came into the picture, I admit that I was still aggressively talking to Michelle, but, Teeny just stole me away from her. But the secret that my wife of 4 years, okay, doesn't know is that I have this huge, ugly portrait of my ex on my arm. She's never seen it, even though she's visited me in person. Okay, she has pictures of them in each other's arms. She has a huge picture of them kissing behind her bed. Okay, so she has seen him in person. She's touched him. She has seen him shirtless on video calls, but he says that he, kind of shifts his body. So she don't see the huge, ugly portrait of his ex-girlfriend's face on his arm. So he just manages to, like, put his arm in a certain angle, even on the shirtless video calls, since he's allowed to have a cell phone, since he's top dog, okay, in his prison, So she has never seen this ugly ass tattoo. And that is supposedly his big secret. And he's like, yeah, I know I'm coming home. I was planning on, dealing with it before I come home or deal with it when I get there. Hmm. Okay, Rob, whatever. So then, before their segment wraps up, he drops a bomb. Okay? So he tells her that, he met with his counselor, and basically they're recommending that he not take parole. Okay? He'll be coming home in 2 months as opposed to next week. And Titi gets really upset. First of all, that's 8 more weekend visits, and she really doesn't have it in her. And I'm like, you know something, girl? You don't have to visit him all those 8 weekends. Just do 4 weekends. Okay. And she's like, you're going to be disappointing the kids. Cheyenne expected you to be at her birthday party, blah, blah, blah. But you know something, girl? You're the one that sets yourself up for disappointment. You're the one that puts yourself in a situation with cameras in your house. Your man totally set you up and sent you into that situation with his mom, okay, because he wanted you guys to make up, but he didn't think about how his mom was going to act. And he knows his mom very, very well. If anyone should know their mom very well, it's their son. My son knows me the best. Just saying. So he knew what the fuck was going to happen. He knew that his mom was going to throw his ex in Teeny's face. And he's acting all, wide eyed and innocent. Oh, sorry, babe. Yeah, well, oh, by the way, I won't be coming home for another 2 months because I decided that I didn't want to accept parole, so I don't have to piss in a cup 3 times a month, and I don't have to tell them my travel plans. So I'm gonna stick this out for another 2 months, but I'm not gonna consider how it'll affect you or anybody else. So since my whole world revolves around me, since I'm a top dog in the prison and the CEOs respect me and I'm allowed to have a cell phone. Just saying. Okay, so now we're moving on to Ayana and Jamal. I need to light my joint for this one, okay? Because this segment, I was yelling, "Girl, girl, what the fuck, girl?" Okay, so that was me throughout her whole segment. So it starts off with her getting ready, okay, getting her house ready because she's going to visit her family in Lancaster before her court date, before she goes to jail. Okay, so her friend Lexi is, driving her there. Lexi's the one with the crazy baby hairs. Okay, Lexi may have crazy baby hairs, but at least she has a head on her shoulders. Okay, we're gonna get into that in a second. So Ayana has a thousand things to do before she goes to jail. She has to clean out her fridge. She has to take out the garbage. She has to make sure her son has money for her son her son has money for back to school. She has to make sure her daughter is all set. She has to make sure Jamal has $300, $200. Excuse me, what? Yeah, because when Jamal needs money on his books, he will let you know that he needs money. Okay. So on top of everything else Ayana has to take care of, she has to make sure that he has that money on his books. Okay. And if she's going to be in jail for more than 2 weeks, then she has to make sure that he has that money for that period of time that she's in jail. Okay. Excuse me. And this is one of the times that I yelled out, "Girl, what the fuck," the loudest, I think. My cat even jumped. When she said that since her court date is on the same day that she has an in-person visitation with her boopy, is that what she calls him? Her boopy? Yes. She will consider going on the run and not going to court to make sure that she could see her boopy. Excuse me? What the fuck are you saying, girl? You have Not one, but two kids. Okay? And we're going to find out the story about your son in a minute. So you have not one, but two kids. And you're talking about going fugitive for your dude who's in jail so you could go see him? What the fuck, girl? LB, light it up because you're going to need it. So she's in the car. He calls, okay? Alexi, her girl with the crazy baby hairs, takes the phone and she's like, listen, how do I know that you're not going to break my friend's heart? All of this is going way too fast for me, blah, blah, blah. And he says, tell your friend that she's going to be a bridesmaid at our wedding before she knows it. And her friend, crazy baby hairs and all, is just shaking her head. And she's like, I just smell a freaking disaster. Okay. So they pull up to the mom's house. Okay. Where we learn that her mom has custody of her 9-year-old son. Apparently, Ayana gave birth as a teenager, 17, between postpartum and everything else. She realized basically that she wasn't ready to be a mother. And they just got used to her son staying with her mom as he got older, and that's where he is. So her 9-year-old son lives with her mom, okay? And instead of spending time with him, because she even said so herself, oh, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Give me a hug, give me a kiss. She, basically drops her daughter off with her mom, goes upstairs into the bathroom where she proceeds to drop her pants and make the booty clap, okay, and lets him see a little bit of her boobs in her bra, give him a little, of the booby action in the bra and clap the booty cheeks and all I keep thinking is, girl, you should have your mind on other priorities besides shaking your ass in front of your man in jail on a video call that you shouldn't be doing to begin with, okay? It's against the rules to have any nudity on a video call. And what is she doing? She's shaking her butt cheeks and making them clap. Anyway, her man is like, we need to figure out a way, okay, to do this bid together because you're the one that keeps me sane. And if you're going away for your old stupid bid, I don't know what I'm going to do. I may have to find another chick. I mean, he didn't say that, but that's what he was thinking. I need someone to talk to every day to keep me sane. So we got to figure something out. Now, Ayana admits that Jamal is a little bit of a ladies' man. And if she found out that Jamal was talking to somebody else, they may have to add another 2 weeks to her sentence. I'm like, girl, please. What in the actual fuck? Please. You're going to go crazy over this man. Not once, but twice potentially. I mean, he is technically the reason why you're in trouble for the assault charge, okay? Even though if you noticed that she's harping on the DUI charge because that is the dumbest thing on the face of the earth to be against the law driving high. Excuse me? Girl, what in the actual fuck? Stop whining from one pothead to another. You don't fucking drive high. I will not condone it no matter what. Okay? Please, girl, accept the consequences for your actions and stop fucking whining. Ugh. So now, her mother, who looks like her sister, by the way, okay? When they put, Keisha, Mayana's mom, I said, what? But yeah, her mom looks young enough to be her sister. And her mom is like, listen, first of all, you need to get your feet the fuck off my couch. And she's like, my feet are clean. She's like, second of all, what the fuck is going on here? And Ayana, tells her, well, you already take care of my son, which I appreciate, but I need somebody to take care of my daughter now since I'm going to have to serve this stupid bid for driving high. Oh my goodness. Go to jail for driving high? What a concept. Ugh. So anyway, her mom is like, you know something? You are pissing me the fuck off because it seems like you're not taking anything serious. You need to get your act together because when you fuck up and you do shit like this, it not only affects you, it affects the people around you. How? Fine. I'm not going to turn away my granddaughter. Of course not. I will always be there for my grandchildren. But in the process, I'm going to have to take days off and I won't get paid for those days. I was a single mother as well, Ayana. I gave birth to 2 kids and I took care of you guys. And she's like, yeah, you did, sis. Why are you calling your mother sis? Excuse me? You're not talking to one of your friends. You're talking to your mother. Even though she looks young enough to be your sister, you're talking to your mother, girl. What the fuck? Okay? So her mom is so frustrated. I don't blame her. If I was her, I would have grabbed her by her hair and pulled her the fuck off my couch. Okay? Her feet and all on the couch, even after she told her to get her feet the fuck off the couch. So we shall see how this all going to pan out with Ayana, but yeah. I kept screaming, girl, what in the actual fuck? You have kids. Oh yes, she is addicted to sex. She's addicted to sex. Girl, all I have to say is birth control. Okay? Because obviously you're proving yourself not to have the best decision making skills. Okay, and this is trickling down to affect your children. Your son lives with your mom is going to have to watch your daughter while you do this bid. So listen, in the future, and since we all know that you're addicted to sex, birth control, just saying. Okay, so now we're going to move on to Rick and Samantha. New couple. New couple alert. New couple alert. Okay. So he's out shopping with his nieces and she calls and she's like, "Hi, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm shopping with my nieces and whatever." So it turns out that they dated back in high school. Okay? And it was nothing serious because Rick was, quite a flirt back then, okay? He would use him and abuse him like tissue. So he decided, after his divorce, that he was going to look her up because she always held a special place in his heart, all the way back since high school. Even though they dated a short period of time, she held that special place in his heart. Okay? So after he was divorced, he decided he was going to look her up. And guess what? She was on the prison pen pal website. He said, "What the heck happened to her?" I'll tell you what the heck happened to her. Her name is Samantha. She goes by Sammy. She is in the let's see. She is in the Iowa Reentry Center where she is required to hold down a job, which is a good thing. She was charged with a felony DUI and got sentenced to 3.5 years. She says alcohol has been her struggle on and off for years. Okay. So he's talking to her on the phone. She says hi to his nieces. And then he's like, "Oh, did you get that I sent to be put in your trust account?" And his nieces are like, "What trust account? What money? How much money did you send to her? What?" So his nieces are like, "What trust account? How much money do you give her?" And he's all like, "Don't worry about it. Mind your business. It's not much. Look at this shirt. Isn't a shirt a medium? Wouldn't it look good on me in a medium?" And they're like, "Rick, stop fucking deflecting and answer the question." And he's like, "Oh, $125." So he says that he has no kids, but his nieces are like his children, and they could be kind of nosy sometimes. Little nosy bodies is what he called them. So his one niece, though, which I find is fascinating, his one niece is a correctional officer. And she's like, "Rick, I know all about jail talk, okay? Jail talk is my job. I'm the one that opens the letters and reads them and make sure everything is the way it should be before it gets passed on to the prisoner. And you have no idea the soap operas that I be reading in those letters. Like the guy will be writing to his wife, and then the next thing you know, another chick is writing to him, and the soap opera starts to develop. And she's like, Rick, I just don't want you to be another victim of jail talk. And his nieces, they hit me here. They hit me here. They're really really concerned about their Uncle Rick. Okay, they almost lost him a couple of years ago when he was withdrawing from alcohol. Yes, Rick is an alcoholic himself. 2 years ago, he was really bad. Blackouts, drunk texting, drunk calling, you name it. Rick was doing it until he went and got help. And his nieces are worried that, not only is this chick taking his money, but when she comes home, her being an alcoholic could possibly be a bad influence on Rick, and the two of them could fall off the wagon together. And, his nieces are just really worried. One of them was like on the verge of tears the whole time. And then he drops another bomb, okay? Because they're like, are you sure? Are you ready for this? And he's like, well, I better be, because I'm going to marry her. And they're like, what? What? Did you tell her that you were going to marry her? And he's like, yes. And then he starts to cry. Hi, Koala. Good day. So he starts to cry. His nieces are like, oh, don't cry. Hi, Misha. His nieces are like, oh, please don't cry. And it got really emotional. But you know something? Rick is going to do what he's going to do. And let's see what happens. Now, moving on to another train wreck that I sat there going, dude, like, ugh, Joey and Michael. Okay. So, first of all, during their video call, there's a big old fight happening. Okay. So, Michael's trying to talk to Joey, but you see his eyes wandering. He's like, oh, there's a big old fight happening over there. Do you see them dragging out the guy in cuffs behind me and whatever? So, he's trying to hold a video chat with Joey, but he's totally distracted by everything going around him. And hey, I don't blame him. So Joey was like, so what did you think meeting my family? And he's like, it was hard to hear everything, but they seem like very nice people. I was glad to meet them. And then Joey tells them, well, after the video call, it was very interesting. I came clean to my family about the relapse. And Michael's like, no, you're kidding me? I would have never done that. And I bet you they blame me now. And Joey's like, no, not really. They know it's not your fault and whatever. So then um, Michael says, I would understand if they blame me. And then next thing you know, Michael's like, Joey, I gotta go. I gotta go, Joey. I gotta go. They just pepper sprayed in here. And Joey's like, okay, call me back. And Joey's like, it's so frustrating being in a relationship with someone in prison. It's really hard to work on communication through 30-minute video chats and 15-minute phone calls. And, I really need to get a final answer about Michael's release date, because it seems like every time I ask Michael about his release date, he just talks in circles and it doesn't make sense. Okay? So, yes, he was talking in circles and it didn't make sense. First, he has a pre-board hearing in 3 months, and then he'll go to the parole board. And then, if the parole board says no, it could be another 6 months, or it could be another year, or it could be another 3 months, or it could be when the moon crosses with the sun on a bright day in June. But I was like, what in the actual fuck? It turns out that it could be 6 years before Michael gets out. Okay. Michael doesn't know this. And Michael was saying that he doesn't know if he could wait for another year okay, that he may not be there, that if this is going to take long. And he's already questioning this whole relationship because of how fragile his sobriety is. So, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. Okay. So now, moving on to the last fucking train wreck of the night. Okay. Shante and True. Now, my first question is, how the fuck does Love After Lockup production have so much access to True? Okay. Not only do they visit him, they get to go into the kitchen where he takes his cooking classes. Okay. So True takes cooking classes Monday through Thursday. He can make a great curry sweet chicken, a banging lasagna, and the best biscuits. So, Shantae, you better you better step up your seasoning skills because according to True, he could season you out the door and around the corner. So, True is making a seafood omelet. Mm. And the whole time I'm watching him cook, I'm like, they have better food in that prison kitchen than I have in my kitchen. He was putting crab, he was putting squid in that omelet. I was like, what the actual fuck? And he said that the first time that he tasted squid was in prison and that they tricked him into making him think it was chicken. And I'm thinking chicken and squid taste totally different. They even have different textures. I'm like, okay. So we get to see True's cooking skills. Okay. He makes his little seafood omelet. He's like, Shantae, you need to watch out because Cook True is coming through. So Shantae goes to meet with a restaurant advisor. Okay. Because she really, really wants to open up a restaurant, even if she has to take out a 100K loan to do it and put herself further in a financial mess. Okay, she's going to do this. She doesn't care. She has plenty of experience in running other people's restaurants, and now it's time for her to do her own. So even if she has to take out a loan for 100K, even though she is broke, she'll do it. So she's talking to Fanny, who is a restaurant owner. Okay. And by the way, Shantae wanted to have $25,000 saved up before she started the business, but the money was stolen from her. She had some money saved up, but it was stolen from her and it kind of put her back to square one. And we're going to get into that more in a second. Okay. So she's meeting with the Fanny with the restaurant owner, and True calls. And True's first question is, how long did it take you to make a profit? And she's like, a profit? About 2 years or so. He's like, damn. I was hoping that our restaurant will pop off in 3 to 6 months. And Fanny's like, listen, it takes dedication. It takes hard work, dedication. You can't be all into it just for the money. You have to have a passion for what you're doing, and then you will succeed. He's like, okay, noted, noted. Sounds good. So the conversation ends, and then Shantae's like, what do you think about having him, work with me? He's going to come out of prison in a year. And Fanny basically advises her that if she is going to have a partner, because partners come and go, people, they get funny when money's involved. She advises Shantae to have more than 50% ownership of her business because you don't want them to take everything that she worked hard for away from her. And that is the best fucking advice anybody could give this woman because, oh, girl, girl, what in the actual fuck? Okay, so her words, not mine. She's pinching pennies. She's pinching Paul to pay Penny or whatever. She's meeting up with her stepbrother Fred. Okay. Yes, the same stepbrother who introduced her to True. And it turns out, yes, the same stepbrother who stole $5,000 from her safe and still denies it and still lies, okay, about it. Instead of stepping up and saying, you know something, I'm going to make things right. I was fucked up. I was addicted. I was whatever. But you know something? I'm going to make things right. He still looked at the damn camera and denied it while he was scratching his nose. Okay? Can't even look at the damn camera. Please. Liar, liar, pants on fire. And I know where he spent her money in that fucking tacky jewelry and that tacky ass suit. So I hope that that little um appearance fee that he's going to get from WeTV, which is around 200, 250 bucks. He needs to give that shit to Shante. Like, what the fuck? Okay. So he's like, little sis, I don't, even though I was in and out of the house at the time and I knew where the safe was, why would I do that to you? I knew you were saving up that money for the restaurant. Why would I do that to you? Because you're a self-centered, drug addicted, you admitted at the time that you were going through an addiction, asshole, okay, that won't even admit now that you did wrong. And even True, the inmate, was like, yo, bro, are you gonna make this shit right? I'm gonna be home soon. You better make this shit right. You know what's up. You know you stole that money from your sister. You better make that shit right. Now it's sad when some dude who is calling from prison has to tell you to step up and make shit right. Okay? So that, of course, to deflect, Fred is like, well, little sis, I'm surprised that you're still with him this long because, I know True from the yard and I know how he could be, so I'm just saying. I'm surprised that you're with him this long. I mean, I know I'm the one that hooked you up to begin with, but I thought he was just gonna be somebody for you to talk to and to have a shoulder to cry on. I didn't realize that you were gonna fall in love with him. So just saying, little sis. Even though I stole $5,000 from you, and I'm still lying about it, just look out for True. Okay, little sis, look out for True. And now she's like, he may have a point here. Is there something about True that I don't know? It's like, girl, please. Can't you see that he's trying to deflect? He's trying to avoid that shit like the Matrix. Like, I stole money from you? No way. No way. Let me deflect this. Like, what in the actual fuck? So all I have to say is shut the fuck up, Fred. Come up with the 5K and make things right. So that was all for this week's episode. Um, Drop me a comment to let me know what you guys think. If I was going to give this episode a letter grade, I would give it a solid B, to be honest, okay? Because there's been worse seasons of Love During Lockup where I had to practically hold my eyes open to watch the episodes. And so far, this is one of the better seasons. So thank you so much, guys, for watching me tonight. I'll be live on Monday nights at 7 East Coast time, 4 p.m. West Coast time. If you guys watch 90 Day Fiance, I do a recap with Cynthia and Kelly. Yes, that's Cynthia and Kelly every Monday night at 7. So tune in for that. And thank you so much for watching me. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.